Washington. Big Oxen Pirate beat the British in Revolutionary War. Big Oxen Pirate built the Continental Railroad. Big Oxen Pirate won the Civil War. Big Oxen Pirate save America. Big Oxen Pirate discover electricity. Big Oxen Pirate made the first flying machine. Big Oxen Pirate saved the world in World War I. Big Oxen Pirate saved the world in World War II. Big Oxen Pirate save America. Big Oxen Pirate marched with Martin Luther King. Big Oxen Pirate landed on the moon with Neil Armstrong. Big Oxen Pirate saved America. Big Oxen Pirate shot guns with Ronald Reagan. Big Oxen Pirate smoked weed with Bill Clinton. Big Oxen Pirate played basketball with Barack Obama. Big Oxen Pirate made money with Donald Trump. Big Oxen Pirate took naps with Joe Biden. Big Oxen Pirate save America. Big Oxen Pirate save America. Big Oxen Pirate save America. Big Oxen Pirate save America.
What's up, chat? What's up, everyone? Another episode, Big Oxen Pirate in America with Jalen Carter's Canada. We back here. A lot of exciting stuff happened this past couple weeks. You know, some people like it, some people don't, but we're here to discuss it. How you feeling, Pirate?
I'm feeling good. Yeah. Busy week, and just let everyone know out there in the chat. I know everybody loves Big Ox. Big Ox is on the way. He's a family man. He's got little kiddos. He's talking to one right now, but he should be hopping in just any minute now. So Big Ox is on the way, and yeah, man. Politically speaking, things are moving fast, huh? I mean, I feel like each week has got like a month's worth of news crammed into it. It's hard to keep up with it all.
100%. Looks like Trump wasting no time with his immigration policy. I've been seeing videos left, right, and center. People being deported. You can be empathetic for it too. Definitely feel bad for, people being separate from families, this and that. But it is the right thing to do if you are in the country illegally. It is you should get deported. But I think it's okay to feel empathy and realize that deportation needs to happen. That's what I tell people too. Like, there's a way to kind of talk to people in a respectful way and be like, oh yeah, I feel bad, but you still need to get deported.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think honestly, most every political issue is very nuanced, right? That's kind of why they're political issues. Things that are straightforward and have one easy answer, those don't become political. The things that become political are the things that, they're nuanced, many angles. Usually both sides have some kind of point. Either, even if you disagree with the other side. So I totally agree. People who have watched the show know that I'm fairly hardliner when it comes to immigration, just on principle, just as far as building a nation, sustaining a nation. But absolutely, that doesn't mean that you're not going to feel empathy for everyone involved. Two things can be equally true. It can be a situation where it is unfortunate And hey, like I always say, life is hard. You know,
Life definitely
Like-
can be hard without a doubt.
life is hard in a lot of ways. It's gonna smack you around, and but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, even though it's not the warm and cuddly thing.
100%. I'm with you there. I'm with you there. I mean, yeah. So I guess that's kind of the big thing. Immigration really.
Kind of, but there's so many things. It's like, I mean, that is like you're saying, that's kind of like the most immediate boots on the ground, like in front of news cameras type thing. But
Yeah.
man, so many things are going on. I know we got if you want to pull up in the background just that list we got on Telegram. But one thing I saw that was very interesting. Well, man, so many things. Where to start? What did you see the Trump purged 17 inspector generals?
You push 17
I feel like
from like the defense, from the army, defense department, like how
from 17 different departments, from so many departments, from agriculture, from 17 of them. So it was damn near most every department you can think of.
Yeah, I saw Doge too. Just cut like $420 million worth of contracts that were upcoming. They just got rid of it. Like they don't need it. A lot of government workers being forced back to the office. They've worked from home a lot, doing a lot of nothing. So I do like that. I do think they should be in the office, especially when you work for the government, to be a little more.
Yeah,
productive.
I think so too. I think that there's a certain burden that when you work for the government, where you don't quite have the same freedoms.
It's not a private company. Yeah, private company wants to do.
It's not.
Time, yeah, all the power to you, but you're getting paid with people's tax dollars. Get your ass to work. Get into the office.
Where are you? Or have you ever thought about? Do you have much of a position on government unions?
Government unions. I mean, overall, I am a fan of unions. Obviously, I do think there's some drawbacks too. Sometimes I think unions can get very deep, but for the most part, I think unions are, productive. In terms of government, I mean, government jobs have always been so well, kind of. They've always had really good benefits, at least here in Canada. Like incredible benefits.
Sure. Yeah.
It's never been a.
Same here in America in general.
Yeah.
For the amount of work that you put in, you tend to be.
Yeah,
because it's not a free market. So
exactly, and so I feel like the need for unions hasn't really been needed. Like they've been treated well for the most part. You know what I mean? And especially like we had here when Canada Post went to they went on strike. So it's like our federal mail switch, right? So they stopped delivering mail. Thing is though, like I mean, I have friends that are straight out of high school, been there working, and now they're getting upwards of $120,000, $30,000 a year. I'm just like, how many people with just a high school degree can go right away make like $23 an hour and get up to six figures? It's like, no, you're not. Why are you going on strike? It's like they say that their wages haven't kept up with inflation. I'm like, shut up. No, shut up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, you're already paid incredibly well. So.
No, and yeah, I don't think it should be allowed. Government unions. I don't think a government servant should be allowed to strike. And before you think that that's some far right position, who had held the exact same position who we were talking about last week is your boy FDR.
Oh, okay.
FDR held the FDR held the exact same position. I think fundamentally it's true. Like when it comes to unions, I'm completely split. In the private sector, yeah, why not? Absolutely. Like in the private sector, it's a free market. If employees, whatever organization employees want to agree to.
It's also interesting. I think unions are only a thing in the private sector for, I want to say, middle to lower quote unquote tier jobs. Like there's no unions in high level consulting. There's no unions at high level law firms. Do you think an investment bank would ever even consider they would laugh at your face if you're like, I want a union? They're like, you're fired. I mean, they're probably right there, but they're like, yeah, they're not. So it's interesting in private.
There are sports unions. I mean, the athletes are getting paid back. I mean, they got the sports unions.
That's a different dynamic where I think obviously the employees hold a little bit more. They're not as easily replaceable as a high level consultant, or you know what I mean. Like you're a top all-star level player in the NBA, NHL, NFL. You're a lot harder to replace than look. You could be an all-star level MD at Goldman Sachs. You're still replaceable. I hate to, I promise you're replaceable.
Yeah, but now when we switch to government unions,
Mm.
I feel like that is just the makings for basically for what we have now. You know, especially when I can't stand the teachers union in America. I think the teachers union does far more harm for America's education than for good in the long run.
Yep.
And you know, I mean, when you just think about it, it's really not quite fair, is it? Or to me, it isn't. Where if labor is going to organize when in the private sector, you have a union, you're negotiating your wages with the owner of a company who's driven by profit.
Mm.
You know, in the government, you have a union. Who are you actually negotiating with? Because it's not quite fair. You're not negotiating with someone who's actually driven by market forces to keep your enterprise afloat. You're negotiating with the government, who can just do whatever they want, or they can completely fold under political pressure.
Yeah, it is interesting. I noticed teacher pay in America. I saw one in like New York for elementary school. She did this thing where she was hating on like Trump voters, so she got suspended recently. But her pay was $163,000. I'm like, well, they get paid. The New York, I know there's teachers in like I think like Alabama or Tennessee where like it's really low, like they're getting like $40,000 from problematic. 160.
Yeah, and Jalen, not only do they get paid, but it's like, you know, they're able to create this position of public teacher that, again, it's not driven by market forces. It's political forces, whether or not we're going to hire more teachers, how much they're going to get paid. And, you know, like I know a ton. I went to high school with a ton of people who were just like, you know, they were like, well, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher, like right out of the gate. I'm going to go to college for 4 years and I'm going to become a teacher. And again, you're working for the government. It's not quite fair, you know. Like if you go and you're like, well, I'm going to be an accountant, then that depends on how many accountants America actually needs. Are you a good accountant? Are you better than the other accountants that are?
There actually is a shortage of accountants because a lot of the older ones are retiring, and not as many people are going into the field. Apparently, I've read that study for accountants. At least here in Canada, I've read some in the States. I don't know the big picture in different states, but there's actually a shortage of accountants and CPA certified accountants. Not just accountants, but do your CPA after.
Accountant's a great job.
Yeah, no. Public accounting, that's a very stable.
Any young people out there who are like, you know, good with numbers and look into accounting. It's a really useful degree to have.
100%
for sure.
100%. What are you thinking about?
But yeah, with these, well, let me just quickly hit on these inspector generals, because again, it's a pretty major purge. 17 of them. So it's much more. You know, usually a president comes in, maybe fires one or two, and just so the inspector generals, they're kind of like the watchdogs of these departments, right? So they're the person who's going to kind of like oversee the department for fraud, waste management, you know, Doge type stuff, ethics, all that kind of stuff, right? Just it's supposed to be a fairly independent position. It's just kind of overseeing these various departments. And so, yeah, Trump came in and axed 17 of them. It's the most since Reagan in 81 axed 15.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, I am a Reagan fan. So if anything you do that like hasn't happened since going back to him, I'm probably going to be like, but you know, to give credit to, or at least thought to the people, you know, who say Trump's a dictator, authoritarian, and all that. Like, is it an authoritarian move? Because the one thing is that you're supposed to give Congress 30 days notice, and good reason
to get rid of a general,
to get rid of an inspector general.
Interesting. Okay.
So you're supposed to give them 30 days notice. You're supposed to give good reason for the firing.
Is that a reason, or
And-
is that just like decorum, proper decorum, or like there's just kind of a?
Well, it's kind of in the weeds. I haven't quite figured out. Apparently, it's supposed to be the process. Beyond just decorum. But Trump went ahead and did it anyway. So, so yeah, I mean, is Trump an authoritarian? He's got authoritarian streaks. I'll never deny that. He's very independently minded, and he's definitely going to try to push the limits. I think where I probably
he knows some things. Like this goes right into the executive order of birthright citizenship. He has a team of lawyers and consultants with him who know, any legal scholar knows this is a Supreme Court type issue. It was not going to stand. And we saw that judge, was a Reagan appointed judge, which I was shocked that he's still on the bench. How a Reagan appointed judge is on the bench. That's a lot of years.
That's a lot. That's a lot. He's got to be old.
Him coming out saying this is so unconstitutional. No legal scholar, this and that. So I think they knew. They just kind of put. I think they put that out there to feed the base, because I think a lot of the base Trump voters don't like birthright citizenship. But to me, I mean, it's in the Constitution. Like, I just don't see how that's changed without the amendment to the Constitution.
But God,
whether you like it or not, it's just in the Constitution.
It is, but I mean, it's slightly vague, and I gotta say that there's no way the intention of birthright citizenship was
his intention decided
for people to illegally come into the country, have a baby that now anchors you to being a citizen. There's no, I don't see any way you could possibly interpret it for that being the purpose.
So when it was written during how many over 100 years ago, or how many years ago it's Constitution now?
240 at this point.
So when it was written 240 years ago, you can make the case that obviously wasn't going to be applied to this situation we have today because of how immigration works. They didn't know the world is what it is today, correct? Like, people coming over the border, having babies. Maybe they didn't account for that. But hold on. But if that's the argument and leave up to interpretation, that's the same argument people on the left use for guns. And this is the thing, though, right?
Yeah. That would be, but I don't think that's not quite my argument. I'm not saying that it's because times have changed.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying the thing is, though, too, is that the fundamental thing about conservative judges is that they are true a constitutionalist. They don't really like to interpret it. It's for what it says, right? The interpretation, they're not big into that. So even a guy like Clarence Thomas,
originalist,
exactly, originalist. So I think,
generally you got your originalists versus your living document folks.
Exactly, and liberals have to be more living document, adjust to the time, whatever, while conservatives more originalists. So if it goes to the Supreme Court, if they were consistent, which again, I think people on political line will see, there's no, like, if Clarence Thomas votes for birthright citizenship to end, I'm like, wait, that goes against everything you've done your whole life. There's no way. If Clarence Thomas does that, I'm like, wait, that you're never an objective judge. You're clearly just one-sided. At least to me, for him though, I've always said he's been consistent with his logic. Whether I disagreed with him, but he's been an originalist throughout. He's never changed.
Man, again, we've gone over how much I love the Constitution, but
right,
I wish they had been a little bit more precise in some of this wording, man. Like, the Second Amendment seems so clear to me. Seems so clear, but they add just the way that they phrase the militia part. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think for unrational people who want to push they're saying you need it if you're in a militia. Like, obviously not. I feel like the placement of the comma makes the intent clear, but man, if they had just used a few more words in some of these,
I hear you.
But I mean, I guess that's what amendments are for. But man,
but we see.
I really wonder when the next amendment will pass. Exactly. Like, we are not in a.
The way where we're divided, I don't like. What do you need? You need 70% of the states independently to do something.
You need 66% of both houses, and then you need 75% of all the state legislatures.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
That's insane. I don't
That
know.
is a lot.
You can put up the most obvious lie and it still won't pass somehow. You know what I mean?
It was possible, but it was possible back in the day when things weren't quite so leaning towards the extremes
100%.
on either side. You know, I feel like politics. It used to be.
We got Chilltown Hoops in the building. Chill, pull up. If you
Chill,
want.
what's up?
I'm gonna put the link. We can use Chilltown. You know, a savvy old veteran out here to see what he thinks about some of these.
Yeah, love to chop it up with Chilltown. But no, it seems like at least when you get past like 20 years ago, it seems like the political alignments were more the moderates from both parties would work together, and the people on the extremes of both parties were kind of pushed to the outside.
Yep.
Whereas today, it seems more like it's the extremes from each party pushing against each other. And in that climate, something like an amendment is really hard to push across. I mean,
I'd be shocked if I saw an amendment in my lifetime. Like as of right now, I just don't see an amendment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when we're really old, you know.
maybe.
At least not in the next like 10 or 15 years. I can't imagine.
What I mean, other than to me, obviously the amendment, whatever number the amendment is with gun laws, and the amendment now birth. Other than those two amendments, are there even any other amendments that people really want to change, or people really debate?
I can't really think of anything that's so major that enough people would really care about it. I mean, like I don't think any like trans rights thing is going to elevate to the level of amendments. I've always, I wish if we could just repeal the fucking 26th Amendment.
What does 26 say?
Fuck. That says that the 18-year-olds can vote.
Oh, you want to be a little? You'd be 21.
I want it to be older. I want it to go back to at least 21. Man, I feel like 18-year-olds. It's just ridiculous.
I've always had
18-year-olds the vote.
I've always had a bit of a belief. Now there has to be a 3 to 5 questionnaire that you have to get right about the facts of certain things, whether it's like not say policy or something to know that you're level-headed. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some sort of thing that you actually understand what you're voting for or what their policy or whatever. Like you have to be educated in a way to know. But that's still slippery slope because I don't know what 5, because then it also can't be subjective answers. That's be, thoroughly agreed upon by both. It's shaky, but that's kind of my thought process on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think 18 is so young that it really leans itself into the government getting bigger and bigger, because once you set up a public education system where you're turning the kids over to the state until they're 18, so you're giving the state the power to put a bunch of thoughts into the kids' heads, and then as soon as they turn 18, you're allowing them to vote on the state. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know?
I hear
and especially since we figured out that the whole frontal lobe doesn't fully develop until you're 25 years old. I think that would probably be the best age, honestly. 25. Like even 21 is pretty young, man. When you're 18, you like haven't even paid taxes. You haven't gone to work. You haven't paid taxes.
Hey, if you're allowed to serve in the military.
Well, in jail, and that's why they passed it. So it was the Vietnam thing, and they were saying, hey, if you're making us serve in the military, then give us the right to vote. And I'm saying, like, all right, I hear you, but given that choice, I'd rather just say, all right, well, you can't serve in the military until you're 21 either. You know, instead of making them both 18 years old.
Hey, you already got some recruiting issues for the military in terms of numbers. I don't know if you want to upper that age. Or you can make an exception that if you're in the military, you can vote at 18, but the other ones you have to wait till 21. And I'll put Pandora's box to a couple other things probably.
I'm sure most of the wars that America is going to be on here are going to be like drones and shit. And
that's true. It'll be less boots on the ground.
Self-flying planes, you know.
No, that's very. I do agree with you on that.
And then we can just go back to the militia. Like I feel the biggest concern for having a military is defense. You know, I mean they call it defense, right? It's the Defense Department, so defense of the homeland. And hey, man, our private citizens, we got enough guns in hand. We can hold this shit down without infantry.
I just want to say though, hold on, the whole argument of you need the amendment for the people to carry guns to fight back against a authoritative government or a government that's went sideways.
Yeah, tyrannical.
A tyrannical government. I promise you, whether it's your pistol, AK-47, or whatever you got at home, the government wants you done with wants you out of here. You're out of here. A drone.
No, you're
a drone. You just said a drone could be dropped at your house. A bomb could be dropped at your house.
That's
the level of weaponry the government has and the government military compared to your little pistol is going to save you. Come on.
No. That's a horrible liberal argument to try to say, what are you going to do? You're going to stand in the middle of the road when a fucking Apache comes down the middle?
Yeah,
look, dude.
When a fighter jets
dude, urban warfare is extremely difficult. Look at the troubles that we had in Afghanistan. Do you know how many? First off, any domestic conflict between the government and the people is going to be so politically charged that the government cannot just do what it wants. Aside from that, America private citizens have 400 million guns in hand. You are not just rolling through America. You are not. Even some small.
If they just tried to bomb cities based on.
Okay, well, fine. If you're gonna say Washington is just gonna nuke fucking all the cities in America, yeah, I guess technically maybe that could happen. But that comes then the political pressures I'm saying comes into play. I'm not too worried. I don't really foresee that America just fucking dropping.
I think it'll work. Whether you're Democrats or Republicans or on the off, whichever one, right?
But then to what end?
No, I'm saying yes. They find a city that's 80% red or 80% blue. Whichever side they're against, you know what? Drop it in that city to teach them a lesson. Boom.
But that would fire up the rest of the country so much. You would really have to carpet bomb the entire country. And then at that point, to what end? What have you won? There is no country anymore. You just blew up your entire country. So well, that's someone else's country. So
you do that
doing that to your own country. I can't really.
I don't think I'll ever get to that point. Honestly, I don't think a civil war is coming. A lot of people, Tim Pool, love to bring up the Civil War concept. Like
Tim Pool's all about the Civil War.
Yeah, crazy. I don't know. Like I've never seen a man talk about Civil War so much in my life. I think it's absolutely nuts. But, hey, that's his thing.
But it's not really. It's not that practical. I mean, the previous Civil War had geographic line. Yeah, it was the North versus the South, so you could see that manifesting.
Yeah,
but Civil War today, people are too mixed up. I mean,
that's true. Yeah, true.
People.
Everyone lives next to each other in a sense, right? Yeah.
Everyone lives next to each other, so it's not like even the bluest states I'm in California, which is extremely blue, right? But still, 4 out of 10 people are.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Conservative, so it's like
Texas, like Texas, I'm sure 3 or 4 out of 10.
Texas, 4 out of 10 are Democrats. So it's I don't really see a true civil war. I mean, we kind of have a cultural civil war going on right now, but as far as actual military.
Yeah, cultural differences, but a civil war is such a strong word. We know what a civil war means and the repercussions of the civil war in any country tends to ruin the country as a whole for a long time. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But another big one that Trump dropped, his executive action, where he took away, was it race or gender protection? What executive order was signed by who? Before that he finally got rid of. The other presidents were a little scared to touch. People made a big fuss about it. I think it was a little overreaction.
Are you talking about like DEI stuff here?
What was it? Yeah. It was like, I mean, people claim the right claims that now people can hire based on merit versus the. What was the?
Yeah.
I want to say what was that? Let me Google that real quick too.
CRT.
What was it? Let's see. Trump. Executive order.
Dirty Dev saying government isn't going to fight rebellion with drones. It's a civil war. I think the biggest thing is just the political limitations to
Yeah.
to really being able to
Well,
execute
what do
it.
you think on Trump takes aim at the DEI with the no transgender troops? Is that a thing?
Yeah, no transgender troops. Well, we got a little video on that in the Telegram.
No, do they mean
if you wanted to,
transgender men and women?
well, yeah.
I don't know. Okay, yeah, so both. So what's the rationale behind it? Because if someone wants to fight for your country, they're able to.
If you want to, are you able to pull up that? We got a little clip from a guy I found commentating in the Telegram. It says transgender troops, transgender soldiers, something like that.
Find it.
But I mean, there are issues. There are big issues. First off, well, if we are going to play that video, I don't want to step on what the dude was going to say first. But
I don't really. I can't see if I find it. I've seen a lot.
You can't really find it. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, what? Yeah. Look, man. This whole cute and cuddly military perspective on the military that we've been trying to push for the last decade. I think most of America is tired of it, and we want the military to go back to being what a military is supposed to be, where you get a bunch of young guys, you shave their heads, you fucking make them do 1,000 push-ups a day, and you basically turn them into fucking warriors and killing machines. You know?
What about the transgenders of 6'4", 222? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that.
Doesn't matter. Well, even right now, I think they are not combat eligible. So every transgender person that's in the military right now, they have some form of desk job, or
that's so weird.
It's not on the front lines.
Look, to me, if you meet the physical requirements, pass all the tests, I don't see why someone who's transgender or anything should stop them. If they're good.
Well, what divisions are you? But again, look, the military is not supposed to be like fucking summer camp, where it's like you go off and everybody's finger painting together in like a social club.
Wait, I'm not saying.
So, do you put them with the men or the women? So look, a transgender man. Right, a transgender man is was born a woman, and now they've transitioned to a man. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that those people, they tend to. I mean, they're not the most physical people. Or are you going to put them with the men?
You don't know. So you don't. There's no special exception for their physical limits or whatever. They have to pass the standardized test that they have. Whether it's for anything, it could be the Navy SEAL test, Army test, whatever it is. If they pass the physical test, the mental test, they do all that, I don't think that being transgender should affect it. If they're good enough, they should qualify, right? Completely merit-based. I just want it merit-based.
But so you put them in with the men?
Yep, and they have to qualify on the men's standards. And if they don't, desk job or whatever. But yeah, they have to qualify on the men's standard because they identify as a man. They have to qualify at those standards. If they're stronger, faster, and better, I'm sure there's some transgender men who are bigger, stronger, faster than actual men. That's just a reality, right? There's few. For the most part, they're going to be weaker.
Very few.
Yes. Very few.
Very few.
Very few for sure. But I'm saying if they pass the test, 100%. And the other side, if you take a
so to be clear, those are not the vast majority of the transgender people that we have in the military these days are not in that situation. They would not. Sure.
Again, I just want it merit based. I don't think whether a person's transgender or not should be.
Okay, well now here's the other thing. And here's the other, the whole conspiratorial aspect of why we're even talking about transgender so much in the last decade anyway. I'm sure you've heard about the whole, how expensive it is really to continue to be a transgender person. Like every year, you're talking about every year for the rest of your life, these hormones and drug cocktails that you have to take, right? That are pricey. Mm-hmm. And I read somewhere 90% of the transgender people in the military are medically discharged. So 90%. they're all kind of like on the verge of being medically discharged. And when you're medically discharged, that means when you leave the military, that means the American government and the VA is on the hook for paying for your transgender hormones and cocktails for the rest of your life.
I mean, so you're saying it's to save money? I mean,
partly, yeah. That's
hold on.
It's kind of a scam.
Hold on. If this person who is, let's say, a transgender male, female, whatever, they go into combat, they're a great sniper. They kill a bunch of people, saving a bunch of American soldiers. Why not pay for their medical? Like, I mean, your soldier, to me, whatever medical costs, to me, I'm not putting a price on a soldier's medical cost. Whether they're soldiers to replace a leg and they need physiotherapy for the rest of their life.
No, man, because that's solely there's such a huge difference in the medical cost of, you stepped on a landmine and lost a leg, and
I don't think hormones.
You're just a guy who wants to be a woman for the rest of your life. Like, that is.
Wait, I mean, let's just say, I mean, a woman wants to be a man. They're taking testosterone booster. TRT is not that expensive. I know guys a lot of dudes above the age of 35, 40 take TRT. Just testosterone booster. It's really not expensive. It's not gonna really change.
I think it's more than just testosterone.
I think it's different for everyone.
More than just take testosterone.
I think it's different for everyone. I'm sure every transgender has their own. There's some transgender who probably take none of it, right? They might just identify as one, wear a wig, and do that.
Dude, look, the military is supposed to be about conformity, like on your part. On the soldier's part, the benefit, the responsibility is on you to kind of give up your identity as a soldier, and being transgender is kind of like the complete opposite. It's like,
I don't see it that way. I mean, you're just transgender, just like you're a boy or a girl. You're transgendered. They want to be a soldier.
No, but it's not just like being a boy or a girl. It's just like being a boy or a girl. I mean, that's what you are. When you're transgender, you're telling the military that they have to look at you the way that you want to be looked at, which is kind of like the complete antithesis of the military. Like the military is like, you are what we tell you you are.
I don't think the military is going to bend over backwards. They'll be like, okay, cool. As long as you're a good soldier out there and you kill the bad guys, they're not going to care. I promise you, the person fighting with that person, if they're a darn good soldier, they're not going to care. They risk their lives.
I don't know. I could
each other.
I don't know. I could see it causing.
What do you think Trump's pick for the head of what is, I think the head
defense,
head of defense, and him said the Fox News guy, right? Him saying,
we should definitely talk about that, because I was actually a little surprised by that whole.
Him saying that women shouldn't be in combat. That's a little.
I mean, I basically agree. Well, I mean, the physical standards should definitely not be lowered.
Changed. That's true. I could agree with that
for women at all. And when you do that, like, we got to get out of. We got to, bro. Physically, there's such a huge difference between men and women. I mean, we've known this for the last million years. I mean, this is there are very, very few women. I'm sure you've seen, like, videos of women soldiers trying to do the basic exercises, or women firefighters, women police officer getting run away from. It's like, I don't know why. I mean, I guess I do know why, but this whole thing that's popped up over the last 10 years, where it's like, we're just going to completely pretend that, like, the women physical body is completely different from the male physical body.
It is
simply not able to handle the same thing. So if you're given that option, that an extremely slim amount of women would actually be able to have the physical capability. So then what do? You put the women in with the men? Like, you're not going to do that. So are you going to make?
Do they do that now or no? They're mixed up.
No, not in infantry. Women are not in infantry. They're like specialists that can work alongside infantry. Like you'll have like some women, like translators on the front lines, or communications experts that work with the front lines and stuff.
Doctors who are like that.
Yeah, but you're not a frontline soldier, because what are you going to do? you just gonna drop some women in with a man's platoon? Like that's
I like to say
that's not the right thing to do. So then, what are you gonna try to make a whole women's platoon?
Hold on,
Yeah.
but like you said, if the tests were standardized and the same for men and women, would you be okay with it if the woman is able to pass the man's test?
Well, honestly, the physical tests have already been lowered.
Okay, but I
think
bring it up. They bring it up to standardized physical.
If they put it back to where it was,
yeah, where it was standardized for
and
all.
And a very and some woman out there was able to pass it. What do you do?
Yeah, I wonder if there's been a woman.
I don't know. Try to turn her into a fucking one-man army like Chun-Li or something. It's like, all right, we're gonna give you some cyber outfit, you know, and you can be like a fucking one-man assassin sniper or something. I don't know.
March 2024, there is no female Navy SEAL. Okay, gotcha. Because those tests.
Of course not.
Yeah, There is a woman became the first female naval specialist warfare operator. Okay, yeah. So they're kind of they have a niche.
In the Navy.
In Navy, yeah, it's a warfare operator operating boats and weapon systems during classified missions.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, the trading during.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry, you know, like in a general sense, I'm totally. If you're a woman and you know you're patriotic, you want to support the country, you want to help defend the country, in the best way that you possibly can, I'm fully supportive of that. I just wish we could be frank and be like, you know, the grunts on the ground, that's built for men. I mean, come on, and we shouldn't have to completely change around whole systems for very tiny exceptions, you know. It's like, what about a guy in a wheelchair? If you what if this guy in the wheelchair could could physically do X, Y, and Z, and what if we could find a place for him in the military? And it's like, you know, I'm not saying it's completely impossible that we wouldn't, but at the same time, it's like, you know, military is supposed to be streamlined, and it's like, you know, they put you get in where you fit in. You know, it's not about like totally carving out spots for special cases.
Yep. We got Big Ox.
What up, Ox?
Big Ox in the building.
What's up, y'all? Forgive my tardiness, man.
All good.
That's all right, man. It's understandable.
What did I miss?
So first, we talked about birthright citizenship. We touched on that. That was one that trumped the executive order. That'll be interesting in the court cases, how that moves to the Supreme Court, how they rule on that. Do you have any quick thoughts on that? Birthright citizenship, keep it, get rid of it. It's in the Constitution.
I always thought it was weird, like that you could just that if you weren't. When I learned that in school, that you could not be a citizen if you come over here and have a baby, then you become a citizen.
We had that here too.
Yeah, I always thought that was kind of weird. I mean, I understand somebody being born here being a citizen, I guess, but making you a citizen is.
No. The parent doesn't become a citizen if they have a kid here. They still have to go through a process. The kid, let's just say a parent comes over illegally, they have a kid here, that kid's a citizen no matter what.
But then you get the political pressure of like not wanting to break up families and
stuff. I think I just think it's, I don't know, I think it's weird, like, to even, that just don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, how would you become a citizen? But
yeah, like Ox, I was saying that
some people are so upset about it, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, to me, if you're born here, you're born in the country. Again, we have it in Canada too. You're a citizen. I don't think there's any way you could say you're born in this country and not a citizen. If you were born in that soil, to me, you're a citizen.
Shouldn't you be a citizen of the nation that your parents are a citizen of?
No, because you weren't born there. If you were born somewhere else, if I was born, if my mom was traveling while she was pregnant, she was born there, I'm a citizen of that country. To me, that's
okay. But then, so what happens then, Jalen? What happens then? Like, okay, but your mom's visa or her she came over on vacation or whatever. You're not a citizen of this country. It's time for you to go home. Okay, what about the baby?
Oh, she go with the parents, but I think you keep your citizenship in that country, or you can have dual citizenship. Like, yeah, to me, whatever country
you'd be automatic. That doesn't seem fair that some babies are just granted dual citizenship. Like,
I mean, I'm not. I don't. So this is the thing. I don't think you should be able to stay in the country with the baby just because the baby was born here. I don't think that's cool. But I can get with the dual citizenship thing though. Like once you're 18 or once your parents legally come to the country, then yeah, you're good over here. But as of now, you gotta get going.
Well, it's a total split between the New World and the Old World. The only countries that have this birthright citizenship are in the Americas. Yeah. Like all of the countries in Europe, probably because they're so close to each other. They don't, like, if you're a German, you can't just walk into France, have a baby, and be like, oh, my baby's French.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I think we have to admit. You got to admit it's at some level of a scam when you actually have like tourist babies, right? Like women who are planning their pregnancy to, sure. I'm going to go fly to America when I'm due, have the baby, and fly back. Like,
do I think that's scamish in a way? Without a doubt. But again, I wouldn't change. I'm not changing the constitutional law. If you were born in that country, you're a citizen there. I don't care how it happened.
We do got to understand that some of the things in the Constitution are played out though. Like I don't know all of them. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. Again, yeah, the Second Amendment, like I said, just
to be a little updated to the
It's
time.
not one of them.
Yeah, not one of them. Sorry, there's some amendments that need to be updated to the times. Without a doubt, I'm with you there.
Well, Ox, we were kind of talking about the ability to write new amendments now, because that really is that's the self-fixing mechanism of the Constitution is to pass an amendment if you feel like there needs to be a change. But we happen to be in a political atmosphere that does not seem very conducive to passing any real controversial amendment right now. It's the bar is probably just a little too high for this political. Like I'm thinking, like, when's the next time we're going to see 60 senators of one political party, which is really kind of like
that's crazy. Yeah, the closest I think last with Obama, right? He had 60 for a while, then one of them stepped down again, and then they got replaced.
For like 2 years, yeah.
I was gonna say again, I don't think the Supreme Court could ever could change an amendment unless it's more democratic. Because I'll say it again, conservative judges are more originalist. You can't pick and choose what to be originalist and when to not. Right, you gotta be consistent.
Well, yeah, but they're not. But they're interpreting it. They're not changing it. They're interpreting it.
I hear, but a lot conservative judges don't like interpretation. They just read what it says, what the law says, and they go by it. They don't do the interpretation stuff. That's the blue. That's the Democrat. Yeah. That's Democrat judge. They interpret it in a way that that they claim will that claim matches up with the times.
Is there any way you could pull up the specific wording? It's just such a shame, because I know for a fact that, like, the founding fathers' intent was not that someone from another country just walks onto America to have a baby to be a citizen.
And I know the founding fathers didn't think AK-47 would exist. There's no way the founding fathers thought AK-47s would be a real thing.
100%.
That's so not true. Like the gun haters, they always say that they didn't think AKs would exist. Dude, the Second Amendment was written to where a private citizen could own a cannon. You could fucking own a cannon. You could own any military.
A cannon is not an AR. It's not the same thing.
An AR-15.
Do you know what kind of damage a cannon can do?
Not as much as the AR-15. What?
Wow.
They have a lot fucking more.
Wait. You got one cannon and one person with an AR-15, and they're going at it. Who wins?
Ox, you could own 100 cannons.
But who wins? But one person can't shoot 100 cannons at once.
That's going to depend on like elevation and distance and all kinds
one
of things.
person cannot fire 100 cannons. Who wins that battle?
And people can have cannons like that.
Or one person
they could have cannons like that, Jalen. They could have any arm that exists.
Let's get Pirate to answer this one question. Pirate. Who wins that battle? The person with the
one guy's got a AR-15, another guy's got a cannon. You're saying?
Yes. Who wins that battle?
I mean, if the cannon hits, the guy with the cannon.
It's not.
I could dodge a cannon.
If the cannon's got a farther range.
Hey, Pirate.
Cannon's got a farther range. I mean,
Pirate. I can't dodge an AK-47. I can dodge a cannon. It's over with. Come on.
You can't dodge a fucking cannon. What do you think you are, Superman? You're not dodging a fucking cannonball.
Can they do nothing? Hey, Big Oz, what do you what stood out to you in Trump this week that he did? Any executive orders, pardons, anything he says?
I mean, I expected all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? He didn't surprise me.
Appointment.
I expected him to do some things. I didn't know what he was going to do, but I knew he was going to come in and make a big splash, make an entrance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he didn't.
He definitely is.
Have you seen any ICE raids around you guys? Like, have you guys seen him?
Any what? No.
Any ICE raid? No. Okay.
No.
I met at the club I work at. It's predominantly, Latinos.
Okay.
And they kind of they kind of making the couple that I work with, they making fun, they're making jokes, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, okay, gotcha.
She's just like,
is she a citizen? Is she not?
Yeah, no, they all good.
Okay, gotcha.
They all good. Yeah, so it's just, it's just funny because they just, they're trying to laugh it off like it's serious to them, but they just like, man, fuck him, fuck these, fuck ICE, fuck these raids. Because some of them have family that's not legit or whatever the terminology is, you know what I'm saying? They just like, well, one of them, she was like, if ICE raids, I'm just gonna run like I'm illegal. And then they'll arrest me, deport me, and I'm gonna sue they.
I was gonna say that might be a little awesome. What if they do just capture someone who is legal, put them in a situation?
I mean, they're able to check if you're a citizen before they actually deport you. It's not they're just gonna throw you straight on the plane.
But
they don't find out until you're in Colombia.
So what's going on with that Colombia thing? So Colombia.
We haven't.
So we'll go right into that. Colombia
the tariffs are working, man. The strong arm tariff. Colombia came out and said, no, fuck you, we're not taking any deportations. Trump said, all right, I'm going to slap you with a bunch of tariffs, and all of the rich Colombians can't get visas because Colombia is kind of a country where a lot of the upper class people are fly in and out of America.
Hey, don't leave out that Colombia also imposes tariffs on the states. People conveniently leaving that part.
Jalen, we win in those trade wars. We like a Colombian tariff to America is like a fly against a window. An American tariff.
Hold on. Let's be specific though. Let's be specific about these tariffs. Just for the audience, for everybody. What and let the people decide. What was this a good move? Because I'm looking at this as a bigger thing. I'm looking at it like when you start playing with people's monies and imports and exports, that's when things get serious. Like, do we want to bully ourselves into friendships? You know what I mean? Or do we want to work things out? Do we want to try to throw our weight around and have enemies of people that we clearly have no respect for?
I think you want to bully. I personally think that politics is inherently cutthroat, and if you try to make it friendly, you're really just gonna screw yourself over in the end because you're not really making any true friends in the end. A nation is a nation. You're a sovereign nation for a reason. You're out there. You're out there for yourself. America is for America. Germany is for Germany. Peru is for Peru. That's just the way now.
And so are they allowing the flights to land now?
So after Trump said what he was going to do, 24 hours later, Colombia capitulated to every one of his demands. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I feel like the proof is in the pudding,
But I'm saying, so Colombia came back with a 50% tariff on goods, and this whole argument is we export or import more, whatever.
Which goods?
So it's good. So we have
cocaine. That's the only thing worth a damn.
we have $7.1 billion worth of mineral fuels and distillation products. Another $1.8 billion on pearls, precious stones, metal coins. 1.5 billion on live tree plants, bulbs, coffee, tea, and spices. 1.4 billion. Aluminum, 637 million. I mean, it's a lot. So the total, I'm gonna see if there's a total here. I can't find a total.
That's really nothing. I mean, it sounds a lot for a person, but for nations, those numbers are minuscule.
Hold on. If you keep doing this, let's say Canada does that, Colombia does that, it adds up. And it just because it's small doesn't mean it's not going to affect on people. Like, look, the price of coffee might increase. It might have a slight increase. You don't know.
But again, Jalen, I'm going to go back to here's the raw numbers, and Bob, here's the raw numbers. So let's look at the big ones: America, Canada, and Mexico, right? So GDP for America, 25 trillion. GDP for Canada and Mexico, about 2 trillion. All right. The exports from Canada to America amount to 25% of their GDP. The exports from America to Canada amount to about 1% of our GDP. So, I mean, that's quite clear. You know, like Canada and Mexico are economically so dependent on their trade with America. It represents a huge chunk of their pie.
Hold on, you can
Our
find
trade with them represents a tiny sliver of our pie.
You could find other trade partners. Like, let's talk about these other countries. If they feel they're not being treated fairly, they can find other trade partners. If that keeps that keeps the cost of some products, whether some products go up or down. The reason why Canada and America do trade a lot is because obviously exporting, importing between these countries is a lot cheaper than exporting across the ocean with some country in Europe, right? So that's one thing. So it's just a lot cheaper. You guys do a good. I want to say an impactful amount of oil and gas is imported from Canada. You would feel the effect. Let's just say it stopped. You would feel the effects. That it won't be mitigated. You would feel the effects of gas prices.
Everything you're saying is true. There will be effects on both ends. We will feel some effect. You will feel some effect. There are alternatives. Both countries, Canada and Mexico, can look for alternatives. America can look for alternatives. But the basic point is that the magnitude is just night and day. The magnitude for Mexico and Canada is much more drastic than America is. We're generally a domestic market. Like over 75% of our trade is internal amongst the states. Like America, theoretically, America could shut off. Theoretically, America could shut off trade with the entire world. And I'm not saying that it would be good. I'm not saying that we would become richer, but our ability to sustain ourselves without any contact with the rest of the world is pretty much better than any other nation on earth.
Would Walmart shelves be like 90% empty if that happened? A lot of it comes from China.
Maybe.
No, not 90%. Jalen, this is what I'm saying. We wouldn't be richer. You know, we wouldn't have more things. But our ability to sustain a situation like that is extremely good and much better than Canada, Mexico, and pretty much any other country.
I think it would be a huge. I mean, let's just say that happened. Let's say it happened with China. You stop imports from China. I think that's a huge effect on the average citizen everyday life. Huge.
It would be a huge effect, but it wouldn't be crippling. It's one of those things.
It wouldn't be catastrophic.
You would see the effect on it. It would set us back a couple months. You know what I'm saying? We do have to have some tough times, wiggle and shake, and we'd be able, because we can produce things ourselves. You know what I'm saying? It would just be like, honestly, it would really just be resetting the market. You know what I'm saying? It would just be resetting the market too. And
whereas many other countries, it would be crippled.
Like you said a moment ago, Jalen, that you can find new trade partners. There's hundreds of countries. Just like, we just make it up somewhere else. It would just look a little different.
Yeah, 100% look a little different. I think Canada, being the second biggest country in the world, plentiful natural resources. We're self-sufficient. We can be self-sufficient. I don't think we have to trade with any other country. We can 100% self-sustain. What don't we have that we would need? There's nothing Canada doesn't have that we wouldn't need. We have all the.
We would just come take it all, Jalen.
That's surprising.
Yeah, Jalen. You say that, Jalen. Without America, you'd be sitting in an igloo eating raw fish. I mean, let's be real.
We're launching your nukes on you. We're taking your military base that you have held in Canada.
This isn't 1812 anymore, Jalen. Things have changed.
Oh man. Let's see what else Trump did.
Another thing Trump's talking about, he threw it out, I think just yesterday. No income tax.
Yeah,
eliminating income tax.
I just don't see that really realistically happening, man. There's so much tax money.
that, like, to me, that would take years to implement. You'd have to figure out the taxes,
Yes.
figure out the money like that. Like, if Trump has a plan and he wants to do it, it might even have to take place during the next presidency if you're really serious about it, because it's a lot that goes into that, right? It's a lot. Number.
Oh yeah, and you would have to make up taxes through a whole variety of ways. But I sure hope that that is something that gains some political traction, because I've talked about it before, man. Income taxes, it is not necessary. It's only been around 100 years, and the implications of income tax are so fundamentally against the American concept of liberty and freedom. When you think about the drastic difference that the government took once income tax was implemented, essentially it made the work of every citizen. Now we're kind of indebted to the government. Now the government rings up all these bills on the credit of the production of the American worker. So we're kind of indebted to. Well, you got to keep working and producing. It goes like think of it. Theoretically, all 350 million Americans should have the right, the freedom to be like, for the next 5 years, I'm going to work like half as much as I do right now. That would be freedom. But something like that is absolutely impossible, because with income tax, it really converted the labor of every citizen into feeding this federal machine, and I don't think, going back, the founding fathers never intended for the federal government to be taking 20, 30, 40% of your labor over the course of the year.
Will there still be state taxes, or is he just talking about federal?
Well, he can only control the federal.
Yeah, because I'd imagine so. He would have to replace, if it's just federal. What's the federal budget every year?
About $6 trillion. So 5 trillion. So 6 trillion.
So 5 to 6. Let's say an extra trillion buffer just have about $7 trillion a year worth of tariffs.
Yeah,
and then I guess technically you can get rid of federal taxes, and the states is up to the states.
But we see it in action. Like Bob, we see states that have zero income tax.
Yeah, we do.
And I live in California, where they kill you. Like in California, they can take up to 13-14% income tax. And look at how inept the California government is. It's not like this income tax is not necessary.
The famous country that does it with no income tax is great, Dubai. Everyone always brings that up. Obviously, I think their sovereign wealth fund, their oil reserves, based on their population, like that contrast is a lot different, than America's 300 and whatever million is people now. I don't know how that worked, but hey, get an advisor from Dubai and see if it can work.
There are lots of places to derive tax from other than the production, and so that's the other thing. An income tax is, whenever you tax something, you're stifling it, right? You're making whatever you're taxing more difficult to do. So when you're taxing income, you're taxing production. You're depressing production. You don't need to do that. Throw in more tariffs like Trump, where you get income from other countries. Fuck that. Why are we paying it? Make other countries give our government money. Property taxes, sales and luxury taxes. So yeah, there's a lot of other places that I would like to, and then also just shrinking the budget overall. So if you did a combination of all that, shrink the budget, and then diversify the tax base away from income tax, that's something I think that would be so much better for our country. Our industry and jobs could really explode at a much faster pace.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays forward over the next couple months, whether it's just a talking point or if actual things will be done to actually maybe get it into place, and really figure out a game plan to do that. I want to bring up some of these other talking points that you had here on the chat here, Pirate, that you put up. Let me see, what's this Derek Evans one that you put up here? New executive orders. Any new executive orders that stuck out to you guys? I'm really catching on the new ones.
I want to know. I haven't got your take on this yet. How successful do y'all think the whole mass deportation thing is going to be. I spoke on it before. Like I told you before that before the election we had talked about it that I thought there should be some level of deportation, but the way like just mass doing it, I think is dangerous, and I think it's dangerous for our Latino brothers and sisters that are living here. You know, whether they're here the right way or the wrong way, I just feel like it's a dangerous situation. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder how successful is that going to be, and how clean is it going to be? You know what I'm saying? And how just is it going to be? Are they just going to be snatched? Are they just going to be snatching? You know what I'm saying? Hispanic folks off the, you know what I'm saying, out of nowhere, asking questions, or like what can the federal government
like citizens?
Like what can they do? Like how far can they take it? You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I'm worried about.
I saw one I thought was interesting where a guy, I think he was interviewed. He said he's been here 19 years illegally. I'm like, hold on, time out. You've been in this country 19. I mean, is there a process? I mean, let's say you come here illegally. Is there any process to try to get papers or something? 19 years, that's crazy. Like I thought there has to be some sort of way to try to get citizenship, a PR or whatever. So
there is. I mean, but shit, if they playing you to the left and making it longer, or if for some reason like it's denied or something like that, you're not just gonna go home.
Yeah, he said he had 5 kids that were born here. I'm like, okay, I mean that's crazy. 19 years, 5 kids.
You got kids. Yeah. You're not just gonna go home if it don't work out the way you think it will.
I do think it's interesting, you know, if they do deport, let's say they deport 10 million this year, right? 10 million illegal individuals who are here in the country illegally. They deport them. I mean, people will say that's 10 million jobs. Are those jobs really jobs people wanted? Are they jobs that people will go for? It's also going
to affect the wages of every job, because you make labor becomes more valuable because you've taken people out of the workforce.
Does that hurt business owners?
Does it hurt business owners? I mean, it helps the employees, you know. So plumbers, electricians, masons, everything else, you know.
Like you see,
a lot of those employers can't afford to pay them a little. They just penny pinching. They're being greedy. You know what I'm saying? Not all people that own businesses, not all of them, but there are owners of bigger corporations and businesses that are doing well that are not paying their employees a fair wage in contrast to what they could be paying. So if the price of labor went up a little bit, a lot of people wouldn't, you know, a lot of those rich like owners of companies, they wouldn't be affected. They would just make a little less than they did last year, which really ain't no big deal. It's a big deal to them, but it ain't really nothing.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? If you make 11 million this year and then make, you know, 9.5 million next year, you go like, damn, I didn't make, but you good though, you know.
No, I honestly hate that angle that a lot of people on the left have taken the last like year or so of, well, who's gonna pick the strawberries? Who's gonna fix your roof? It's like you're seriously saying that, okay, so what you endorse is that we have a labor market where basically there's a black market of labor, and we have a whole section of the labor force that's like illegal and their wages are suppressed. It's the Democrats going back to their pre-Civil War, you know, who's going to pick the cotton thing. It's like, well, we don't need a society that's built on slave labor or like a caste system like India. You know, everybody in America, if you're in America and you're working in America, it should be a level playing field. You know, you shouldn't be endorsing well, we have illegal citizens who are going to get paid half as much and then not pay taxes. You know, it's a fucked up system. So, I mean, you're saying how successful? Like, that's really,
have there been numbers?
I guess it depends on your measurement of success.
Have they released how many people they've deported so far? Is there a number out there, or just still kind of waiting?
No, I think it's too early to really get any kind of concrete. I did see that, like, the number of criminal deportees have like doubled it's only been like a week though, you know, so it's
yeah. Give it about a month.
It's really hard to judge.
You have some numbers, I think the number will be close to maybe over maybe a million in a month. It's a lot.
I mean, before Obama was the deporter in chief. I think Obama deported like 6 million people.
He definitely.
And then they're saying, I think rough estimates, we have somewhere between like 20-25 million illegal immigrants in America. So,
and is ICE also? I mean, it's not just the Latinos. I would assume there's illegal immigrants from multitude of countries. Obviously, the most is Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Something. But I assume there's illegal.
No, all over. Yeah, all over. Especially during the Biden administration, I think it became more of a worldwide, more like really international sources of people coming across the Mexican border than before. Even like Chinese. I saw a number like illegal Chinese immigrants coming through Mexico, like multiplied by 10 or something. So
that's wild. Yeah, that is wild. I'm trying to think of some of the other bigger stuff Trump has done recently. Kind of hit up all the big ones. Some of the appointees, Cash, RFK.
Yeah, definitely. I was surprised with the Hegseth. That now Hegseth is a guy I like. I like Pete personally.
Okay.
I like most of what he stands for and what he wants to do.
Yep.
I don't know. I find it hard, like really endorsing that he's qualified to be the Secretary of Defense. I mean,
didn't he serve in the military?
Sure, he served in the military, but I mean, the Secretary of Defense is more than anything, it's a managerial job, right? Like, I mean, it's administration and management.
Isn't he Harvard educated?
That I like him. I like Pete. Yeah, Harvard and Princeton.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree with a lot of what he says. You're telling me a Harvard, Princeton educated guy who served in the military can't be in the department? Is he head of Department of Defense or what's
the Secretary of Defense?
Sorry, Secretary of Defense. I mean, look, I disagree with a lot he says, but I can't not vote for someone just because I disagree with him.
So we're like on the opposite of both. Like I agree with a lot of he says, but I don't know. I don't know that I can say.
What do you think needs to be qualified for you to be Secretary of Defense?
I think to be any major secretary in the cabinet, you need some type of managerial experience. I mean, it's really it's an administrative job. You have to be able to
manage people, talk to people,
manage people, and manage a lot of people, and delegate a lot of people. There are millions of people underneath you. I mean, there's you, and then there's like thousands of generals, and there's all kinds of there's all the soldiers. There's all kinds of administrative. This is an administrative job, and I mean, you can be a brilliant person with great ideas.
I mean,
put into that situation, and I think the problem when you get this kind of thing, let's just for the purpose of conversation say that he is a brilliant guy. He's got ideas he wants to do, but he doesn't really have the experience in the managerial role. A person like that put in a situation like this, I think a lot of the times, like you could get some of the bigger ideas that you want done.
Yep.
But it's the hundreds of little things that go on in an organization that like you don't really know how to have your pulse on. Being a CEO is not the easiest thing, Like a lot of people on the left, they think being a CEO is easy. It's not like delegating power and responsibilities.
It's not. I mean, look, I think if I look at his credentials. He worked at Burn Stairs from 2003 to 2014, one of the top investment banks in the world at the time. You were there for 11 years. He definitely made it to a leadership position where he was delegating, controlling big teams. So I'll give him that. Then he also served as infantry officer in the Army National Guard, attained the rank of major, who received a Bronze Star while serving combat in deployment in Iraq. He also voluntarily deployed to Afghanistan to train Afghan security forces. Man, I really disagree with the guy, but I think he's perfectly qualified. I'm like, you just.
I I think he's a badass. I think his resume is like, he's a very accomplished, very smart, very charismatic guy. And I mean, I'm rooting for him, but I gotta, I gotta be honest. I'm hoping the best for this administration, and so I find myself in a position where like this is a guy I really like. I agree with. Like, I hope that he can do a lot of the things that he wants to do, but I don't. We'll see. I'll be rooting for it, but we'll see. It's like it's a big administrative job being Secretary of Defense.
Does Kash Patel have to be approved too?
Kash Patel is coming up, yeah. So
that'll be again. I just think elections have consequences. Like him or hate him, Trump won, and I think his picks.
Yeah.
As long as they didn't kill someone or do something really crazy, it's like, all right, you have a decent background. You give them the job. You let them do what they have to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. I hear. Like I said last week, I mainly watch like left-leaning news to hear what the conversations. And I just hear so much bitching and moaning, like over this appointment and that appointment. It's like, what do you think, man? Like you lost. Trump won. He's putting in Trump guys. Don't expect. No, like progressive Democrats are walking through that door. This is like he won. Now he's got 4 years to do what he wants. If
Democrats,
if it works out,
you got to win the next election. That's all it is. He's got to win the next election and then switch.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. Yeah. Double check here.
Dry your tears. Put on your big boy pants, and it's like if it doesn't work out, then go win the next election.
4 years, Trump's gonna be gone, baby. Democrats, I'm telling you, it's prime time to come back. Trump's gonna be gone. You're probably gonna just go against JD Vance or Vivek. We'll see whoever other candidate wants to pick. Probably Vance, but we'll see.
I think right now Vance looks like he's the
Vance.
The heir apparent, but it really depends on how the next 4 years go.
Vance is really good at interviews. Actually, I see a lot of his interviews with people. He knows how to push back in a very non-aggressive, rude way, but very common sense. Hey, I understand what you're saying, but you know what I mean. So he's very.
He keeps it. He keeps it tight. His responses tend to be, pretty tight to the point. He's not like rambling off.
Yeah. And he's in some ways he's a more trained Trump. Like, he's not going to say anything stupid. Like in some ways, Trump might say, because Trump's just going to say what he wants to say. All the power. Vance is a little more. Vance thinks before he speaks a little more. He understands. I guess he understands that principle. Double check your minutes. Hey, eliminates stock buybacks and wealth tax. I think the whole thing of people in Congress and stocks, again, that's been a Bernie Sanders talking point for 20 years. Democrats, Republicans, they all do it.
It's been a Republican thing too. Yeah.
I mean, so to me, it's just like you see all these politicians who have salaries of maybe $200K a year, some of them 150 to 750, whatever. Yet their net worth
about 200, probably the average.
And somehow their net worths are 15, 20, 30 like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Y'all out here performing better than Warren Buffett in terms of stock picks, right? So we all know what's going on. And again, I think a lot of people, especially the Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi's of the world, that kind of age group, definitely do that. I think this could be a productive term if a lot of people kind of put their emotions aside, and like I think progressive Democrats they've been talking about this for years. That's a huge talking point.
If we work on the things that both sides agree on, I think there are like 5 or 6 things that could like really, really get done. I think we could get it to where, I think we could get Congress to stop insider trading. I think enough people on both sides could get that done. I think we could shrink the Pentagon by at least like 15-20%.
All for making military spending more efficient, of course.
Yeah. I'm not saying we're not going to get rid. We're still going to be the military powerhouse in the world, but shrink it 15-20%.
There was a Supreme Court case that progressives were really pissed off about. The ruling about how big corporations can donate a certain amount of money to candidates. There's a court case, and they basically just say they can donate whatever they want to them. I've always thought there needs to be a limit on campaign finances. Maybe it's $100 million. You're only allowed to spend $100 million. I think the less money you have in politics, the more likely.
Of course you do. In Canada, you guys spend
very little.
Spend a 6-pack and a bucket of extra crispy on your campaign.
No, here you're only allowed to put up signs. Is it 45 or 60 days before an election? Like there's a like that's what. And I think that's a phenomenal rule. So I think in America, again, taking that big money out of politics. Let's be real. Both sides are they raise over $1 billion. Both sides in terms of spending money. Let's say they both spent over $1 billion.
I don't know if Trump hit $1 billion.
I mean, it's close, like 800.
I think Trump was like around 500 million.
Only 500 million. Oh wow, okay. Let's. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think he hit $1 billion.
I think getting money out of politics. I think.
But yeah, a lot of money.
Yeah, I think getting money out of politics is the big thing that both sides can agree upon. Because that much money,
at the same time,
you're donating for favors. Why do you need to spend that much money on an election?
Because look, the people with the money and have power are the
okay. So
people who are guiding the nation. You know,
let's give power back to the people. Back to the common man. Pirate, come on.
Yeah. So this philosophically, I'm really not much for that. I don't think a lot of people think, hey, the president should be. How come he's not just an ordinary guy? How come he's not just a guy who works at 7-Eleven? We need a guy who works at 7-Eleven and is putting his kids to bed. And I'm like, you know what? Honestly, no, we don't. we need powerful people who have a ton invested and a ton at stake. Making really big decisions.
I think now there's more power for people who would be considered outsiders than at any point in history. I think now there's so many ways to accumulate this great amount of wealth. Well, before, in a sense, before technology really boomed, the way to accumulate a huge amount of wealth in a lot of ways was through the banking sector, real estate, kind of oil and gas. If you notice all the business that came from the families, they came from like the Bush family with oil. If you look at some of the same bankers or the same, investment banks, they'd all kind of work for, consult with for a year or two. The Yale, Harvard's graduates, like the club.
And Jalen, like a lot of average people, right? That kind of tend to complain about the old boys club and how you kind of like generational wealth and everything. But look at it's 2024. And the billionaire names that we're talking about are Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, right? We're not talking Carnegie, we're not talking Rockefeller.
That's like the
right.
These
things,
guy,
these things recycled. It's like
my laptop's going to die. Let me go grab my charger quick. Parrot.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I'd like people to kind of think about that. It's easy to kind of be jealous of billionaires. Say they're not earning their keep and stuff. But when you think about it, it has not been the same 100 families, or 10, or the same billionaire family in America that's just been running it nonstop. A lot of these names. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. What did Jeff Bezos' parents do? What did Bill Gates' parents do? These were not families that were intimately tied into the power machinations of America. For the last 50 years. So in a capitalistic society, you can make a lot of money. You could lose a lot of money too. You could be here today, gone tomorrow. I'm starting to get old enough to where in my lifetime I've seen a lot of big companies come and go. At one point you would think MCI or Blockbuster Videos or some of these companies, they were huge, and then 5 years later, they're not as huge, and it's a new company on the horizon. And that is the hope in a free market. The way you want it to work is that creative destruction, where some people rise to the top, and if you keep doing something that works, you keep making some good or service that people want, and is good for people, then you keep making money. If you get beat by the competition, then you start losing money. And yeah, people attack consumerism as an evil thing, but hey, it's a way that people voluntarily enter negotiations. And consume for rich companies to keep making money, for rich CEOs to keep making money in a capitalistic society. You need to keep having consumers. You need to keep having some good that the population is like, yes, I find it beneficial to, trade the money that I made off my labor for your good. So it's not an oligarchy. I hear oligarchy has really become the word of the day on the left. I hear that every leftist show. It's like you hear it 10 or 12 times an episode, but I don't see any huge difference between now and the way it's been.
Hey, I hear that amongst the Trump base too, in the old Twitter sphere and all that. Like, there is a part where it's just like, we don't fully trust these guys. Like, sometimes they feel like they conveniently trended towards Trump. There's a part of it, especially with the H-1B, one thing how they disagree. Like, they don't fully trust these corporate billionaires because they saw how they were against them last election cycle too, before the last one. Sorry. So, there is a lot of his base that are still skeptical. And like I said, people on the left are switching up. Oh, it's oligarchies and billionaires are here to ruin your life type of deal. So it is interesting. We'll see how that kind of turns out.
But one thing I do like, if Elon Musk is going to be some billionaire that's got some backroom say in the government, I do like the fact that, well, he fucking owns Twitter and he basically fucking blabbers about everything that's on his mind daily. Like
he's got that
George Soros. If George Soros is back there, like, actually having an impact, fuck it. I'd like at least I get to hear what you're thinking every day. And it seems like Elon Musk does have a genuine interest in, like, kind of throwing his thoughts out there, seeing what people think. It's not like you're just gonna sway him, but it definitely seems like Musk, takes the public opinion into. He considers it on a lot of these things, which is good,
I hear you. Do we touch on every topic? I'm trying to think. Do we have any topics that you want to touch on before we head out?
Transgender in the military. Oh, there was the Star Wars Iron Dome defense. Trump is, well, back in the day, Reagan, basically the anti-missile defense for America, kind of like what Israel's got, but on a mega level to protect America.
Oh, okay. I thought he was giving money to Israel. I'm like, wait, did I miss this?
No, it's for us.
Yeah, he stopped all foreign aid, right? Did he make it outside that? Like, he hasn't given money to any countries like that for whether it be to Ukraine, Israel, any of that. I don't think he's giving money to any of them.
He's freezing a lot of things, which I like. I like coming out of the gate and just kind of let's shut everything down for a couple months. And
you gotta do that. You gotta shut it down, assess the situation, and then go from there.
He shut down that app. What was it called?
What app?
The Biden immigration app. ABC did a big story.
He saved TikTok for a lot of people. A lot of people do a lot of,
what's going on with TikTok? Is that just like a nothing now?
I think that they just extended the deadline to sell the American part of it to someone else. Again, I don't know if they'll be forced to. Again, if I'm the Asian CEO, I'm sure you can make a deal somehow to keep money. TikTok is, the value of TikTok is huge. In terms of,
we need to get rid of that.
Stop.
Hey, we need to get rid of that TikTok, man.
You tell me the land of the free wants to get rid of some app pirate. You know why?
Yeah, because it's owned by the fucking communist Chinese government, dude.
You know what's crazy? a lot of people. You know what? I think more people saw confirmation.
I would cut all trade with China. I'm hardcore.
Oh, you're hardcore. Okay, that's
yeah,
that is hardcore. But no, what's crazy is more people saw confirmation hearing, whether it be clips or the confirmation hearing of the individuals, all their questions and whatnot, on TikTok than any other platform, even beyond TV. Because people don't really watch on TV. Yeah, because I mean, one, like I even randomly saw.
I don't even have TikTok.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I have like cousins who aren't even politically interested. Like they would just be shown clips. They're just going, they see clips like, oh, and they see like a senator going back and forth with the. Let's be real, most 90. Like, I mean, I'm sure the ratings, hearings, unless you're a real political buff, you're not really watching it, right? So
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's a good thing, man. You're distilling like an 8-hour hearing down into like little 10-second clips. You know,
sure, in that way you can say that. But I do think a lot of people get their political what's going on from TikTok. Like more people probably know.
That's why it's so easy for people to be hardliners on the left or the right. Like if all you're consuming is cultivated 15-30-second clips that are meant to like portray it in your narrative. I think a lot of people are, they'll just watch a lot of shows that are either on the left or the right, and it's these 15-second clips that are like, hey, isn't this stupid? Isn't that stupid? It's like, it's easy to think, oh yeah, I have nothing in common with, where if you actually sit down and you watch a whole 6-hour hearing,
yeah, you see,
you're gonna.
Who's watching a 6-hour hearing on a Tuesday? You know what I mean? It's just people aren't going to do.
Well,
that.
I mean,
yeah. Well, I will say
I like that.
Yeah, but most people. But TikTok, TikTok is surprising. You could say, I probably see the most sides on TikTok at any other platform, even more so than Instagram, YouTube. Like the amount of different viewpoints I see on TikTok from a guy. Yeah, I see. The right, the left.
I heard that. I mean, I heard before that there wasn't really much from the right on TikTok, but has that changed, or was it always?
There's a lot of kind of like the 22-3-year-old right wing talking heads these days, right? Just like this left wing talking heads. But there's a lot of, I see a lot of more reasonable centrists too on that platform than anywhere else. It's kind of like they see both and they'll be like, all right, they literally say this guy's saying this guy's saying this. I think it's this. There's a lot more reasonable, because it's not, because in YouTube, let's say YouTube, people have to cater to their viewers to get the clicks and likes and some ad revenue and all that. While on TikTok, people are going so fast, it kind of lends itself for more people to watch. Like YouTube's like, a Tim Pool or whatever is mostly going to be followed by people on the right, going to be seen by that. While here, even if you're predominantly on the left or right, you're going to have, let's say your channel, you're completely right wing, you're still going to have like, let's say 40% of your views from the left, just because how the algorithm kind of hits. You know what I
mean? All right, yeah. I mean, I feel like I get a pretty good mix on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean,
but that might just be because like, over a lot of time I've watched a lot of stuff on both sides. So
yeah, exactly, yeah, for sure. Matt, you got anything else?
I think we covered most of the major bases of this week. I'm trying to think. I don't think we
Oh, did you see Eddie Mark Carney? I told you if you looked up any
I did. I did.
What do you think
I watched some Mark Carney.
What do you think of Carney?
I feel like you were hyping his charisma a little bit. From what I saw, I didn't.
He's not.
He's
not Obama.
He seems a bit dry.
He's an old, boring politician.
Yeah.
Which where the Liberal Party was might be what they needed.
Right.
What they needed. They needed that. I don't want to say like the old white man boring thing. Like that's what they needed for where they were politically.
Like I didn't pick up like social justice warrior vibes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, he's not that at all.
He seemed a bit dry. He seemed,
I've always said good politics are boring.
I don't think so.
I think I
don't think so.
If politics in your country worked in a way where it really benefited the people, it shouldn't be boring. Like politics is meant to be boring. It's only exciting when something bad happens.
I don't think so. My favorite politicians are the ones that came in really like searched it up and really changed things around.
because things need to be fixed. I mean, I get that point. But
Yeah.
I think if a country's run the right way, like you wouldn't have big scandals, you wouldn't have big needs for changing this and that. You wouldn't need big revolutionaries, right? It would just
I agree, but I think very few countries are what I consider the right way. And also, I think that countries, especially once you get into the democratic realm that most countries are at now, countries are in a democratic environment. Things are never really fixed, right? Things are always constantly like shifting here and there. So I feel like even if you hit a sweet spot, it's hard to really maintain a sweet spot because there's always,
I hear you.
For everything, there's a huge segment of the population that's like, no, that should be different. That should be different.
All right, back to Carney. What are you thinking?
Yeah. So I still like Pierre guy, but he's more up my alley. I couldn't really pin down. I watched a couple speeches and an interview with the Carney guy.
He started campaigning really yet, you know what I mean?
Like I couldn't really pin down, his political philosophy beyond, like kind of just a center left.
I think
generic,
very center left. In some ways, some people.
I didn't pick up anything that seemed like beyond just like kind of generic, non-offensive center left platitudes.
I gotcha.
So I don't know exactly what he would do, but I do like I just feel like Canada. I feel like you guys.
He's been a huge, to a lot of people's eyes, he's been a huge upgrade to Justin Trudeau. Again, because the hate that he has.
Oh yeah.
The polls have. I mean, I think the Liberals saw the single biggest day jump in the last poll recently done yesterday. Just based, everyone's assuming he's going to be the candidate, even though he's not the candidate yet. He's the biggest profile name so far.
But he has like officially declared. Right?
Yeah, he's officially declared. There's a couple other people who've also declared too, and it's funny. Like, I think a couple other people with Indian background declared. Oh, the racism is crazy. People are like, no, deport. No, I'm like, wait, these are Canadian citizens. But because the immigration issue, people are just more, not inclined for that at the moment. We'll say.
Well, that Singh guy probably didn't do.
I mean, he didn't do him any favors.
Yeah, but he didn't give the East Asians any or Southeast Asians any good pub, right? Isn't he like not very popular right now?
Yeah, he's not very. He kind of. I mean, he pretty much drove that part through. I mean, I like some of his ideas, like the whole get dental care coverage for people. Like he has good ideas. It's just, people just hate him for propping up Trudeau, right? Because his minority government, he needed the NDP to keep him for this long. And he's just been, anytime they have a vote to disassemble the government, the NDP will still vote with Trudeau. So that's the hate for him. It's not necessarily a policy thing. It's for him propping up Trudeau for this long. And the Liberals, I think, have done a good job now of starting to separate themselves and further separating themselves from Trudeau. Even though I do think he's being used as a bit of a like a scapegoat, the Liberals are doing a good job of separating themselves from him.
Well, I think Canada would do well from just separating themselves from the whole Trudeau path that you guys have been on for the last 10 years. You tighten that shit up. Tighten that shit up. It's 2025. Conservatism is the hot thing, man.
Here, this one. Canada's a mess pile. A starter home in Alabama costs $80 to $100K. Canada's 1.2. I mean, look, in the GTA, so basically when I say GTA, Greater Toronto Area, it's like a starter home in New York or Toronto. A starter home in New York or Toronto is going to be obviously expensive, right? Like, you starter home in New York is, I'm going to
starter home around here is like a mill too.
Yeah, and then
but man, if you go to Texas, you go to Texas, 200,000 will get you like a 5-6 bedroom mansion with a fucking.
I see the videos all the time.
Front.
I see the videos all the time on TikTok. I'm like, this 300K home would be like $3 million in Toronto. Just because obviously different space. So Texas, that's like buying a house in Saskatchewan. You know what I mean? Or like, it's just like and outside of.
But Sheridan, I agree. I used to work for a Canadian company, so I would on the daily kind of interact with Canadians, and just too liberal for for my cup of tea in general, you know.
Yeah,
Which is funny because when I was a little kid, I always associated Canada with like playing hockey and drinking beer, so I thought it was like a country of like hardcore manly men lumberjacks. But then I grew up and started talking to Canadians. I'm like,
we still have that.
you guys are like from San Francisco, man. What the fuck's going on? I thought y'all were like hardcore mountain men.
I mean, we're logical human beings, you know, who know how to think straight.
But you're very collectivist, you know. And again, I think that is I think people influence your government structure, but I think your government structure also influences the people, you know. Mm-hmm. And you guys, it's not just Canada, but the Westminster parliamentary system that you have, that you know we share with like Australia and England. I think a system like that over time kind of pushes out the individual rights in a way, you know, over time. It's just, it seems like in the Canadian system, it's harder to really be, you know, like a hardcore American red-blooded, you know,
you Ted Cruz are out of here.
Live free or die, you know. Just because the way the government's set up with your parliament and coalitions and stuff. Like, what was that? I know the last election you had. Do you still have that? Like, they called it the far right party. I forget what they were called, but
I was having to. Yeah, we do. I was just talking about another group chat I have with like in the Canadian politics,
which seemed like they were just kind of like American Republicans, but it's like your conservative party is like. Is kind of like Clinton Democrats.
I've always said our conservative party, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, even like Obama's still a little center left, but he would be like a liberal, like a center left liberal.
Yeah. Your conservatives are like Obama, Clinton. Your liberals are like AOCs and Bernies.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't really have like
we do have a hard
legitimate right wing.
Hold on, wait. They're not the Bloc Quebec Quad. There's one that they just I forgot. I was literally debating them the other day.
No, it was like
the people's something.
Yeah. Are did they get any traction, or are they just
People's Party of Canada? People's Party of Canada.
Yeah.
Maxime Bernier. He says some controversial things. He's definitely in the right wing. We consider him ultra right here.
Are they gaining ground or losing ground? Like I know they didn't really get much.
They're just, I mean,
much
like,
of the.
His name is more. I talked about it. Said they're big. They're big on the whole mass deportation thing, which is obviously very popular right now because of our situation. So that kind of keeps them in front. But other than that, but they are very much an American consider. They believe in like the individual. Government shouldn't be so involved.
Right, it's like a traditional. Right. Yeah, exactly. See, this is all. I hate distilling it to just like right and left because it always seems like you know you call the other side like farther, like you guys call that party a far right party, right?
Yeah.
Where I don't consider when I think of a far right party, I'm thinking of like monarchists, fascists, like. And not just like I'm gonna call you a fascist, but like an actual fascist party, you know. Is
I hear you.
I consider that like far right, just like far left. Like you know, I'm not gonna call. I mean, AOC and Bernie are kind of like pushing the line, but technically, far left would be like a communist party, you know, like or a straight socialist communist party is like a far left party.
Yeah, they're not people. I mean, AOC Bernie Sanders isn't like a huge
Bernie.
Not even like a
Bernie is walking that line, man. Bernie is he
likes to praise Norway. You know, Sweden, which I think those countries are great too. I think their governments are.
He likes to praise the USSR in Venezuela. And
Yeah, it's a little.
But Bernie's got some
Hey,
communism in him.
hey,
You know,
the whole Venezuela thing. What's the thing? The only reason they're doing that to that country because they want to keep the oil people owned, government owned. They don't want
right? Yeah,
right?
just like
So
every socialist country. Oh, that's not real socialism. Whenever it fails, so that's not real socialism.
It's crazy
Yeah, they got crushed by all of the capitalist countries. It's
crazy.
It's never real socialism that just fucking blows up in your face.
It's funny. Someone did a story. It was on YouTube where they looked at like the products that were being that were short on the shelves. And they're all just like they're all products being imported from like Western houses, like stuff that they didn't. It's stuff that the partners of the USA just simply would not want to export to them, just to try to, you know, American imperialism with the oil trade and all that. That's a whole concept that people. Hey.
Oh yeah, it couldn't possibly be that you nationalize the fucking oil reserves and fucking wasted the money on a bunch of
did USA want to get rid of Saddam Hussein because of what he did as a person, or because he wanted to change the gold standard or go to a gold standard and not use the US dollar in oil trade?
Yeah, that's complicated. I mean, that was the Warhawks. I was not with the neocon Warhawks. You know, I wasn't down with Cheney. I don't want to go around being the world police and fucking being in all kinds of wars. You know,
Dick Cheney. I don't think people realize how rich he got. I don't even think like Forbes understands how rich man that he was. I'm pretty sure he was the former Goldman Sachs guy, or is that another one?
No, he was the defense not Halliburton. Sounds like Halliburton. I'm thinking of the basketball player. He was a big defense contractor. He made all his money in defense.
Defense contract, military industrial. Also, Henry Paulson was the guy who during the time, the Goldman guy who,
I remember it was Eisenhower, a Republican, that warned the nation about the military industrial complex, and
100%. And to this day, they still again. That's why I thought, with Trump, Doge, they could be maybe the first administration to really tackle that. Even though they haven't said it for their name, they can just say military efficiency and all that. That'll be
but I mean, they're on the open talking about it, and that's a lot more than fucking before, So the things are out there on the open talking about them, like like let's actually shrink the government. Let's actually get this fucking budget fucking under control, man. Come on.
Right, yeah. Let's get the what do you call it?
Quit fucking around.
Increasing every day, right? The deficit's still increasing every day.
Oh yeah.
I've always said I don't think the conservatives really care about that. The liberals definitely don't. That just keeps going up. I haven't seen an administration that really cares about that. But never actually do anything.
So when a huge faction of Republicans, basically converted the whole Tea Party Freedom Caucus thing, like we're not serious about it, like. Dude, a huge faction. That's one of the biggest things that keeps me on the right is fiscal responsibility.
100%.
You gotta fix that budget.
We'll talk in another week or so. See what happens. I'm sure again more things on the horizon. It's still very early in the presidency.
Yeah, every week, man. I'm sure we'll have like 5 or 6 more things happen this next week. And
we'll see.
Crazy times.
Yeah, we'll see what the Democrats do. I do think. I mean, they have time to kind of find the next face of the party, if you will. It'll be interesting to see again who they pick. I still think right now Gavin Newsom's still probably that guy, but obviously the California fires didn't help the situation.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I think it's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be some new face, but again, like I was saying,
you could see a young new face like an Obama come up, right? You know what I mean? Like he might.
Where are they gonna come from? Like it's like the only faces you seem to have are in Congress.
I just mean young. Let me see, young Democratic Senate members. I just want to see who comes up.
Yeah, and the senators are all like what Warren she's done.
I'm looking at the young ones.
Katie Porter. It's like all these, Buttigieg. None
John Ossoff.
of the establishment.
Yeah.
Who?
John Ossoff.
I think I might have seen a little bit.
Or Maxwell Alejandro Frost. Yeah, these guys seem a little too young. John Ossoff is intriguing. How old is he? He's 37. Yeah. You have to be 40 to
I don't know.
run, right?
Yeah. What's that?
You have to be 40 to run for president, right? That's
Yeah.
I wonder why that rule came. Why 40? You know why?
Because you can't be a fucking kid trying to be the president.
I mean, hey,
just like you should be able to vote when you're 18.
30 is not a kid. I just wonder why they pick 40. Maybe not 50.
30 is a kid. How old are you, Jalen?
I turned 30. I'm old. I'm old.
Yeah, see, you think you're old and you feel old when you're 30, and then you get older and you realize, man, you're a kid when you're 30.
You could be 18 and run here. I might just run after this election. We'll see.
Your brain has only been fully developed for like 4 or 5 years now.
I can see that. But yeah, we'll see what the Democrats do. They got to figure that out. But yeah, it's another episode. Chat. Big Ox, Pirate, Jalen. Hey, we need to. Hey, I mean, Pirate, you got to add Jalen Carter to this picture stream.
Dude, I put you in the new intro.
Oh no, I'm talking about his back.
That's why
Pirate.
What's it? Oh yeah,
and like Jalen Carter in the bottom or something. We'll do it for next week.
Yeah, it was. We had the new intro. I put a lot of time and effort in that. It's got all kinds of animations. It's got like fucking Looney Tunes quality animations.
We'll figure it out and get it up here. All right, chat.
The production value is going to go through the roof.
There it is. We appreciate you staying here. We will be back. Hopefully next week we'll let you know.
Yeah.
And
thanks, viewers. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, and we need to to the viewers out there. Last couple of episodes, we haven't been really getting the viewer call-ins. Have we been putting the link up? We could probably do a little better job putting the link out, because anyone who's in the chat, if you want to like hop on, you got some issue we haven't covered, or everybody's.
Do you know how to clip up, Pirate? Make like shorts, just post it, clip up. Make clips of our show. That's a
and do like shorts.
Yeah, that's what we got.
Yeah, I could totally do it in my video editing stuff, but I don't have access to Bob's channel, so I wouldn't be able to.
We gotta do something like that. That's how you grow a show, right? The clips. That's what really get people to view.
Yeah, we'll try. Yeah, and we need to like hopefully just get the schedule a little bit more regular and starting on the. Like everyone knew it was like 7:30 on Tuesday, and it was week after week starting at 7:30. So hopefully, I invested in a whole new fucking supercomputer and some video editing software and stuff. So
sounds good.
I haven't set it up yet, but
yeah,
once I do, hopefully that'll be a nice little hub. We can expand things a little bit here.
All right, chat. We'll see you next week.
All right, there you go.
Take it easy.